One of the issues that we're seeing is that while the society is advancing, new things are happening, the teaching styles are remaining the same. I'm Velonique Bowen, Executive Director of GetAced Academic Services Limited.
I know there's a call for concern in terms of the last results where PEP and CSEC is concerned. First, can you just tell me how you feel about the results?
Well, the Caribbean Examination Council would have announced that there was a 36% pass rate in mathematics at the CSEC level and a 76% pass rate in English A at the CSEC level as well. Now, the 36% to everybody has been frankly alarming. And I've seen this course in comparison with the English A, persons saying that the 76 is not as bad, but when you compare that to previous years in English, that is still a cause for concern. So I think both of the rates, it requires us to now take a deeper look at the issue and to find ways of remedying the problem. We have to, or society literally depends on it.
What's your suggestion of finding ways?
Well, I think first we have to identify some of the issues or some of the problems that are, resulting in what we're seeing. And if some of you remember, a few years back, the Ministry of Education as well as some academic experts would have stated that we would see the effects of COVID in a number of years. I feel like we are now seeing the effects of COVID. But beyond that, I don't want us to look at COVID in a vacuum, but instead to look at what I refer to as the COVID era or the COVID phenomenon. COVID-19 brought with it a number of changes in our society. In fact, we jumped maybe 10 years ahead as it relates to digital or technological advancement from COVID, where children are a lot more advanced, where that is concerned, shorter attention spans, and just a lot of new resources, new platforms, new everything. And I believe that one of the issues that we're seeing is that while the society is advancing, new things are happening, the teaching styles are remaining the same. And when we talk about technological advancement in education, I'm asking for us to step away, or not step away, but I'm not specifically mentioning the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint cannot be sufficient. We have students who are so technologically savvy. They learn quickly, but differently. And it is up to us, the educators, to ensure that we're doing them justice. We're not leaving them behind. We are changing our styles. We're getting more skilled, and we're meeting them where they're at, right? So I think that the COVID era brought with it a number of changes, and now there is a need for a diversification in the classroom in terms of the styles in how we educate our students. But beyond that, I also believe that fundamentally, at the foundation, there is still a problem. I think that in 2024, every single student, when they're entering schools, these schools need to be assessing their learning styles. So when you have a class as a teacher, you have a class of maybe 40 students, and I know it may sound like wishful thinking, but you need to know the learning style of every single student in your classroom. That way you are able to curate your strategies to target everybody. You're able to say, okay, I have 20 students who are visual learners, another who are, So I believe that the schools, there needs to be that approach, and we have to start equipping our teachers with the necessary skill sets for them to step outside of the traditional ways of teaching and to, kind of give the students a bit more of what they're comfortable with. In addition to that, though, we cannot speak about this issue without speaking about parental involvement. That song has been sung over and over again. Now, I understand that the reality for a lot of Jamaican parents is that they may not be able to help the student with the assignment itself or the task at hand itself, but it is up to you to ensure that you're at least helping in terms of instilling the discipline, in terms of allowing them to know that when they come home, X time to X time is for you to do this. While, so while you may not be able to help with the actual math problem, you're able to help uphold the principles that cannot be thrown away no matter how technologically advanced we get as a society.
Let us speak about the math in particular.
Right.
What strategies you think they should put in to try and build up this low math rate that's coming up?
As I said before, there needs to be new teaching strategies, especially for math. Our students have had a long-standing relationship with math as it relates to that fear, that dislike for the subject. And as a result, I think that we have to ensure that we're teaching math in a way that makes sense to them, in a fun way, basically. Especially now including, as I mentioned, the newness in terms of the digital and the technological, we can ensure that we're teaching math in a similar way, while ensuring that we can show them that it makes sense in real life. So what a lot of my clients or my students will tell me is that, how this makes sense? We understand it in the classroom, but when would I ever use this in real life? As teachers, we have to show them that, this can be applied in this way, because they need to understand the relevance of this even beyond the classroom.
I'm sure with what you have observed and your concern, GetAced now, how is that GetAced is trying to help to try to reduce this low math turnout rate?
Now, having acknowledged, having seen, because this is not something that just jumped out of the box and now we're seeing this massive failure rate in CSEC, it has been approaching, right? And now, having seen that, having acknowledged that, I decided with my company that, we would step up, we would do what we can to ensure that we are nurturing the nation's children. As I mentioned before, CSEC and math are two areas that we cannot afford to, lapse in our society. And as a result, we offer premium online tutoring for students, as well as if the need applies, then we'll go face to face. Now, what this does, or through GetAced, what we do is to ensure that we understand the learning style of every single student. We then use that to fuel our strategies. So we target our students directly. We use the technology, we use how it is that they learn, and we leverage their attention span. So we have acknowledged that, in 2024, the attention span of a student is way less than it was even a year ago. So what we have to do is to ensure that how we're packaging the courses, how we're packaging the information is in a very targeted way, a way that they can consume it and make sense of it. So specifically to math, as I mentioned, ensuring that it relates to real life scenarios, showing them how it will benefit them in real life. That is one thing that I think they really appreciate, because we assume sometimes that our students, are just vessels that you pour into, but they too, they want to understand things. They are curious and they want to make sure that what they're learning now can actually benefit them in the future. So they'll ask you a lot of times, but Miss, what does this have to do with real life? And you don't get offended. Just show them what it has to do with real life. And then you will realize just the difference in how they receive the information. So I GetAced to ensure that no child gets left behind. And I believe that, if outside of that, if other academic persons or experts should, approach or adopt that same principle, then it truly, we could see some changes.
But tell me how GetAced came about.
Well, GetAced was established in 2020, actually, in the peak of COVID. And it's so funny because it came about from me acknowledging that there was learning loss because of COVID. And almost 5 years later, we have to step up in another way because of learning loss of COVID. So we actually started out by tutoring specifically CSEC, social studies and Cape sociology literatures, that kind of thing. We never, delved into the math, but when you see that your country needs you, when you see that, we are at risk, then you just have to do what you have to do. So we have a team of expert teachers, experienced teachers who, you know, are just ready and willing, able to impart knowledge in a new way. While they're experienced, they've been doing this for years, they have been so open to the new teachings, the newness of things. And I think that, you know, that's just what we need. We need to admit that things are changing, times are changing, and we have to change with the times.
And the new strategy, learning strategy, or teaching strategy that you GetAced came up with, is it working?
It is working. As it stands, we have a 100% pass rate, and notably, all our students who took math and English passed. You know, all our students who benefited from our tutoring at those levels or for those subjects actually passed with grade 1s and 2s. And so, you know, it shows that it pays off when you take a leap and you try to do something differently. It pays off. You know, there is nothing to lose and everything to gain. So another way in which GetAced has diversified how we offer what we offer is that we now have digital crash courses. So we have acknowledged that the reality for some parents and for some students is that the students are so busy, they're so involved in extracurricular activities, and you know, the time for them to set out a specific time to come to classes in addition to their regular schedule is a bit difficult. So we now offer digital crash courses where you can purchase the entire syllabus in one packaged video or so on. Now we offer math, we have English, we have social studies, sociology, you know, the different subjects. So now you can purchase that subject. You have the flexibility to learn on your own time. As I mentioned, it's the entire syllabus with questions and all of that. So you now are able to learn on your own time, go back, refer to it. Maybe your parent can get more involved, help you. So, you know, it's just a matter of finding innovative ways of helping our students to do the best that they can. While some students may be able to go to school and then come home in the evenings to do another session, some students may want to go home and just get some rest, and on a Saturday they just pull up the digital course and do what they have to do.